Sean McDermott is under fire, and guys, this is absolutely insane because Bills fans have totally had enough with the upper administration of this Buffalo Bills organization, and I'm going to tell you all about what is going on in this Bills organization right now. What are the chances that Sean McDermott gets fired before the end of the season? What is the landscape looking like of the Buffalo Bills for the future? And so many more questions that we have after last night's embarrassing loss to the Houston Texans. Hello everyone, Josh Schreiber here for Bills Digest. We just had a really fun night last night on the live stream, so thank you all so much for tuning in. In this video, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on the Bills' loss, but also really some more, deeper Bills lore, I guess is the best way to put it, because the Buffalo Bills are in a weird purgatory where they're consistently making the playoffs, but they're doing it in ugly fashion, and they're not able to get over that final hump. And obviously, plenty of questions are going to be answered as the season goes along, but we're going to do our best in this video to break down exactly what the Bills' options are throughout the rest of the season and what their best plan of action is, because Sean McDermott certainly on the hot seat. But before we get into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are over 1,500 subscribers. We want to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the year. You guys have been awesome, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this with your Bills friends, because we've got plenty of stuff to cover in the future. Well, let's start up with this video, get to what you guys have been looking for. For what feels like, the fifth year in a row at this point, Sean McDermott is on the hot seat, and specifically with Bills fans thinking about it, but he is truly in the hot seat right now because the Buffalo Bills are 7-4, which that's a good record, but they have lost some embarrassing games this year. They've now lost to Davis Mills, Tua Tagovailoa, and Michael Penix Jr., who all have had really rough seasons, or really rough careers, I should say, to this point. Now, that has brought a lot of fans to start questioning if Sean McDermott is the right guy for the job. And they've gotten to saying, this meme puts it best. Say the thing, we're going to learn from this. And Bills fans are tired of hearing this from Sean McDermott, from the higher-ups that be in this Buffalo Bills organization that continue to point fingers at other problems. They have, they've had scapegoats in the past, whether that's with Ken Dorsey being fired, who I'll admit he was a terrible offensive coordinator. I don't think Joe Brady's at that level, but certainly Joe Brady has had his faults this season, and fans are getting tired of Sean McDermott. That is for certain. And we're at the point now where Sean McDermott is on the hot seat. We have national media starting to question if Sean McDermott is the right guy for the job. And this kind of feels like the first time that we've actually had national media, instead of just Bills fans, questioning if Sean McDermott is the right head coach for the job. I truly believe that Sean McDermott is a good coach. I do. And I know a lot of people may be clicking off this video hearing me say that, but there is no doubt Sean McDermott has established a winning culture here with the Buffalo Bills. He has built a great locker room. He's built trust within the organization. He brought them from, it wasn't too long ago where Bills fans would do anything for a playoff berth. So he has brought this team to a perennial playoff team. A lot of that is because of Josh Allen, but still, there's something to be said about the culture that he's established. I do not think that he is the man to take them over the hump. We have seen plenty of examples of teams that, they have a good coach that can get them to a good spot to change their culture, but just can't get them to win that championship, to make it to that championship, to beat that team, to get that monkey off their back. For the Bills, that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And Sean McDermott hasn't been able to do it. It does bring a very fair question, and that is, does Terry Pegula have the chops to tear things down? Because there's been a lot of chatter among Bills fans that Brandon Beane needs to go. Sean McDermott needs to go. There needs to be a full teardown of this coaching staff, of this front office. And to me, that is very fair. It's very fair criticism. They have really failed in a lot of aspects that you can't continue to give them, to cut them slack on. Because, I mean, it wasn't long ago that Brandon Beane went on to talk show radio and just slammed Bills fans for wanting a wide receiver, when now clearly that is a huge reason why the offense has struggled against good teams, because they don't have guys that can get open down the field. And Brandon Beane slammed talk show radio hosts in the offseason after the NFL draft for criticizing them, saying, we're an awesome offense, like, you guys are complaining about this and that, and it's ridiculous. Well, Brandon Beane looks like an absolute fool right now. But the real question is, can Terry Pegula afford to tear this down? Because we've seen what he has done with the Buffalo Sabres. He has absolutely torn that team to shreds. They are absolutely horrible. An 18-year playoff drought for them, very similar to what we have with the Bills. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel right now with the Buffalo Sabres. Things are looking glum for them yet again this season and in seasons in the future. So why should we as Bills fans trust Pegula to hire a new general manager, to hire a new head coach? And I don't know if we can. I think that what they have with Brandon Beane right now, you've got to ride with him. However, I do think we have to let Brandon Beane make a new head coaching decision, because Sean McDermott, he's not cutting it as we see right now. Sean McDermott is leading to embarrassing posts like this one with the Houston Texans mocking the Buffalo culture, saying we love a good buffalo wing with a capital L. And of course, Tim Settle there in that picture, a Buffalo Bill who did not really work out with the Bills, was a healthy scratch multiple times, and now he's tearing it up for the Houston Texans. Another failure for, Sean McDermott's players not being able to live up to what we know they can be. Poona Ford, another example. I talked about it on the live stream last night. And a lot of this was just because they were not able to put a good enough team around Josh Allen. And we've seen the Bills have slacked on offense in terms of making moves because they know they have Josh Allen. And they know that he can put on the superhero cape. But it's games like this that you realize just how dangerous that can be against a really good defense. And the fact that they have invested heavily in defense, and it is so bad. Their defense has been atrocious. I know they only gave up 3 points in the second half, but it is shocking to me that they didn't blitz Davis Mills more in the first half. They let him sit back and pass. Sean McDermott has been a failure. Now, if the Bills are to fire McDermott, which I don't think is going to happen, let me put that out there. I want it to happen. I want it to happen as much as you guys. I don't think it's going to, but if it does, who are potential replacements for him? Well, here is a list. Josh Grizzard is on there, Clint Kubiak, Brian Daboll, Steve Spagnuolo, Kevin Stefanski, if he were to get fired by the Cleveland Browns. All potential options. To me, the ones that I highlighted, Josh Grizzard and Clint Kubiak, two offensive, geniuses, if you want to put it that way. Grizzard, the offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kubiak with the Seattle Seahawks. But one name specifically that intrigues me, I should say, Steve Spagnuolo. Now, Spags is well regarded in the NFL community as a phenomenal defensive coordinator. He's been with the Kansas City Chiefs for a long time. I think if you were able to bring back Spagnuolo as your head coach, bring back Brian Daboll as your offensive coordinator, that could potentially work. Spagnuolo is a much better defensive mind than Sean McDermott is. That is also a little bit of a risk because Spagnuolo is a failed head coach, although he was a failed head coach with a really brutal New York Giants team that was not in a good spot. I don't think anyone could have had success with that team. So hard to really put that on him. Two more fun guys, more riskier guys, Clint Kubiak and Josh Grizzard are, that typical offensive coordinator, savvy offensive coordinator mindset that they bring. They would both be psyched to work with Josh Allen. They'd both leave their jobs in an instant for this Bills head coaching gig. Those are two other names to look out for. But let me know in the comments, guys, who would you want the Bills to hire to replace Sean McDermott? Type that out in the comments because there's this is the first season in a while where there's not that front runner for an NFL head coaching gig. So let me know in the comments, who do you want the Bills to hire? I'm assuming you guys want Sean McDermott gone, but if you don't, let me know what is the case for keeping Sean McDermott as the head coach? This has been Bills Digest. We'll see you next time here for more Bills daily content.